Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co-host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome back. It's Q Points. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, also known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, people?
That's right. Welcome to another episode of Q Points, your safe space for all things Black and Black music talk. We are so happy to have you here. Jay Ray, dude, did anything happen over the weekend that we should know about?
So much weird stuff happened.
Maybe something happened, but we'll talk about that. How are you?
I am really good. So, as you know, I was on the road.
Yes, on the air like WKS.
Yes,
Cincinnati.
Absolutely. So, last week, Q Points represented at the Podcast Evolutions Conference, and we wore the kids out. So shout out.
Shout out to you, Jay Ray, for holding it down for us out there.
Yeah, you know what, man? Listen, it was a really good time. I was actually out in LA, so if you watched last week's show, you will know that my sound was crazy, and I was in a white room, and it was a lot going on because
somebody came in while you were talking.
Somebody came in while I was talking. It was a lot of things happening, but we did it because that's what we do. We have to bring you Q Points. But no, I was out in Los Angeles at the Podcast Movement Evolutions Conference. They do 2 of those a year, and this is kind of the industry one. I've been told. I haven't been to the other one, but we presented on we presented a session called Building the World You Want: How to Create a Cost-Effective Sustainable Podcast. We had a dope crowd. We had a bunch of dope people, made some great connections, and had a good time in LA, man. So yeah, we back.
Love to hear it. I love that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to K.A. Anderson. We see you. Yes, a whole bunch of stuff did happen over the weekend. Before we go any further, I want to say to our Hindi listeners in India, Svagate to Q Points.
Yes, yo, let me tell you why Sir Daniel did that. So one of the things, thank y'all. So shout out to India. Like, India is really rocking for Q Points, and we appreciate y'all. So more to come because we cooking some things to bring you some stuff too. But yeah. So there we go. That's a dope shout out, Sir Daniel.
Yeah, listen, I gotta do a little something every now and then, surprise people. But yes, it was an absolutely wonderful. It was a great weekend. Shout out to everybody that tuned into to Sugar Honey on the Rocks, the episode for the month of March, for Women's History Month, was great. It's up there for you guys to stream on Mixcloud, mixcloud.com/the Sir Daniel, and it's really dope. It's called Date Night at the Deuce. I went back in time to like the really early 80s, the early onset of hip hop, and how the ladies were representing with a lot of dance records and answer records, because that was how a lot of women got put on, especially if you're talking about hip hop, is they did answer records to the records that were popular at the time. So it's a great mix mash, a great mix to listen to, and to learn your history when it comes to women in hip hop and women in music in general. So that's my little spiel on that. And shout out to the people at Rocksteady that came through and got their dinner and R&B on with me on Sunday nights. So if you want to come through to Rocksteady Atlanta, by all means, come through and check the kid out.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yo, shout out. I mean, the Sugar Honey on the Rocks series is super dope. So congratulations again for pulling that off. I know that it wasn't easy, and you did it weekly, and the sets were tight and all of that. So shout out to you. And so for everybody that's not, we know how unfamiliar things can feel. But you need to be supporting Mixcloud, because here's why. When folks play music on Mixcloud, the artists actually have the opportunity to get paid from it. They operate it like radio does. So they count the streams. They say, okay, this song was played at this time. So it's really important that we support websites like that are really doing a really good job. The streams look good. The site, it's easy to navigate. Check out Mixcloud. Sounds great. That HD sound that they have. Yeah. Listen, y'all, get up on Mixcloud and get you a free account.
And the app is non-problematic. It's easy to navigate. It is everything. It's not like, I'm not going to downplay other platforms, but if for DJs, if you want to stream and have your mixes live forever and not get cut off and blocked because of copyright infringement, Mixcloud is a great opportunity for you to have your mixes live forever and not be impeded at all.
Absolutely. Can I let the people, I want to let y'all know something really quick. We're actually streaming using a new platform this evening. So we'll probably be a little choppy. You know how normally I'm dropping stuff in the chat and doing the whole thing. I'm learning, child. So I probably ain't going to be able to do all of that, but we still love you. It's not that we're ignoring you. We're just doing a new thing. We're trying some new stuff out because we're evolving the show. So yeah.
That's right. We see you out there. We know you're there. So you know what? I guess we're just gonna have to get to it, because honestly, when J Ray, we talked about this when you and I were discussing the show, what was coming up. It was like, do we have to? Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about it. But because there's some really great stuff did happen aside from the other stuff. Right. So let's just get into it. We're just going to do our recap of the Academy Awards show that took place on this past Sunday evening, because it was very music heavy influence. Yeah. If I said that right. Yeah.
No, you did. Like, black music showed up, and I didn't think about this until afterwards, but when I thought about all of the big moments of, well, 4 significant moments in that show had a black music tie, which is really interesting, because I don't know that I can think of another Academy Awards where that was true. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So let's run it down, right? So, and we're going to kind of talk about all of these things. So you had a rapper win Best Actor. You know what I'm saying? In a film, like, a person who started out as a rapper, win Best Actor in a film. You have a pioneering hip hop musician, producer win an Academy Award. You had a woman rapper show up. I have a story there because they've been saying this thing, but it's really weird. So I do want to talk about it. And then we had an opening by the biggest pop star in the world, but also a black artist. So there was like these 4 significant moments that all had like black music ties that we need to talk about.
Absolutely. And hip hop in particular has poked its head in and out of the Academy Awards for sure, for certain, over the past 20 something years for certain. But where you want to start off first? So you want to let's if I may, let's talk about Megan. You
Let's
want to
talk
talk about
about
Megan?
Megan. Yeah, let's start with Megan. So here's the interesting thing about that I wanted to bring up. Like they've been the narrative has been that Megan is the first woman rapper to perform at the Oscars. But that's not true though.
That's not true. Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah did.
Is the only other
Yeah.
female rap star, a woman rap star, to have performed at the Academy Awards.
Exactly. So I found that narrative to be really interesting because I'm like, no, Queen Latifah already did this before. And maybe they were like, maybe because she wasn't rapping.
That might be it. Maybe because it wasn't like a traditional rap performance. Because was she performing from her song from Chicago? Possibly.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what song. It was 2008, so I'm guessing probably so. But yeah, so it was a misnomer. I think that's a bit of a. I don't think that's true. Like that narrative isn't true. Megan isn't the first.
Keys agrees with us because Keys is like, and you know this, so yeah.
Right. Thanks,
knows,
Keys.
Keys knows what he's talking about.
Right. So let's talk about it. So Megan shows up. I didn't see Encanto. So I was like, oh, okay. And okay, let me pause. I didn't watch the Oscars. I watched pieces of it that applied to me. Same.
Well, first of all, I was coming home from a gig,
right,
when the Oscars was in full run. So that was my excuse.
Right.
J. Ray, you don't have an excuse.
No. Mo, my excuse is I cut the cord. And it was playing on a station that I can't get on the service that I use. So I was keeping up with it online. So I missed like pieces of it. So every time something would happen, I would kind of go back and watch. But so Megan, the cast of Encanto, that I've never seen, comes out and they do this performance of We Don't Talk About Bruno. I don't have any context for what that song is about. Don't ask. Sir Daniel, do you have any context for what this song is about?
I do not. I think it might be regarding a dead person, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Honestly, if you're watching us and you're listening to the show right now, give us some context. If you saw Encanto and you know about We Don't Talk About Bruno, just really quickly tell us We Don't Talk About Bruno means. Please. Real quick for us.
Let us know. So then in the middle of the performance, Megan Thee Stallion, who looks regal, comes out in the audience and does a whole rap thing about the Oscars and Bruno, and it's really like a topical rap more than anything else. So it's like about the night and the experience. So I thought that was really fun. Shout out to Will Packer and Will Packer's team. So once again, this Oscars was produced by a black man and a black team. Shout
out to Atlanta. Yeah.
Shout out to Atlanta. Atlanta was all over the Oscars. So I'm assuming that that has something to do. But yeah, Megan came out and did the rap. But you know the part that I loved? It was kind of like you would have missed it if you weren't paying attention. Sheila E. was playing with them.
You know what? Sheila E. pops up. I'm not surprised because Sheila E. she's that girl. She's really just sought after for all of these, for Academy Awards, Grammy performances, everything. She's sought after for these major television events. So that doesn't surprise me at all. And you know what, K.A. Anderson, I agree with you. I'll say I don't think they're trying to remove the Queen's contributions to rap, but I think a lot of people, especially a younger generation, do not know that Queen Latifah started out as a rap artist. They know Queen Latifah, the actress. They know Queen Latifah living single and what's the name of the show? The Enforcer, not the Enforcer. The Equalizer. The Equalizer. The Equalizer. So yes, so that's probably why they thought Megan was the first first rapper to perform at the Oscars. And Trey, thank you, Trey. Trey came through. Bruno is the uncle that's been missing for years in the movie, and he was hiding in the walls. Okay.
Cool. Cool. I gotta go
Sure.
watch it. I gotta go watch
Yes.
Encanto. Thank you, Trey. Trey, shout out to Trey. Trey, we love you. You are always, Trey be like posting all about Q points, and so we love you a lot. So thank you for filling us in. And yeah, I agree. So Kay, I think there is a piece of that too that is weaved in to what both you and Sir Daniel are saying. I do think there's an entire generation that has forgotten that Queen Latifah is a legendary MC, and has, of the golden era, has one of the best debut albums to come out of the golden era, point man or woman. Like, it's solid.
Front to back, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, like I said at the top of the show, hip hop has continued to make its presence felt at the Academy Awards, countless years.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta, and I don't know if this you were going to bring this up, but we gotta remember last year, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe the year before, Common won an Academy Award for rapping and producing that song from the King movie.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So he won an Academy Award for that. And who can forget the biggest, I don't know if it was an upset, but it was totally not seen when 3 6 Mafia took home an Academy Award for their song from
Hustle and Flow. Hustle and Flow.
It's
hard out there for a pimp. Yes.
Took home an Academy Award, and the people were gagging.
The people were. Ooh, do y'all remember that? Because I remember that like, ooh, okay.
And that's okay, Trey Dixon.
Yes.
We spoke your name because we wanted you to show
up. We wanted you to be here. Y'all, we're so happy to see y'all here tonight. That's so dope. But
absolutely.
So yeah, Megan came and she did her thing. I thought that performance was really cute. I should have gone and watched Encanto. I did not, but I will go back and watch it because I thought that the performance was really good and the song was cute. So I'll watch it.
Yeah. What else happened that night?
We had an open by. Do we want to go there? Do we want to skip to? No, let's go to Beyonce because the next two are probably will take us a minute.
Beyonce is always the answer.
Beyonce, if when in doubt, Beyonce.
Listen, I mean, we didn't. It's kind of like, Beyonce is going to put on an amazing performance, and completely set a tone and continue to raise the bar. So it was almost like that's what she does, y'all. I mean, she's going to give you a great performance, and it looked beautiful. People were like, "Why is it green?" And I'm thinking, well, it's tennis balls,
right?
And it's tennis court. There's always a method to her madness,
right? Yeah, like that whole the imagery of them walking down the street with the braids. And just walking the streets. I didn't know it was Compton, and then it made sense to say we're in Compton, right? In Compton, which to my understanding has changed a lot, right? Like Compton has historically been a very black community, and it has the demographic makeup of Compton has changed a lot. So the fact that they took this and transformed this entire tennis court into like a big tennis ball, with this beautiful set. So let's talk about it. They had a band, they had an orchestra, she had background singers, dancers, Blue Ivy.
Well, we were corrected. This was actually Blue Ivy's debut performance,
Right.
and Beyonce was just her guest.
Right. Sorry.
Thank you. Yes, we
Thank you,
stand
Keys.
corrected.
Blue
No,
Ivy performed with her mom. Her mom
which
performed
is
with Blue
lovely.
Ivy. Right. But great performance. I was unfamiliar with that song. I haven't seen King Richard yet. So I was unfamiliar with that tune. So I didn't expect it. So it was nice to see that open. And you know what I forgot, Sir Daniel?
What?
I forgot how much I be missing Beyonce performances because you know she will disappear for like really long periods of time. And
Oh
it's been a
yeah.
while since we've seen Beyonce perform.
Listen, we'll see an Ivy Park collection before we'll see a Beyonce performance.
Right.
But also to that point, I now that you mentioned you're like, I didn't see King Richard. I didn't either. Can we talk about this real quickly? Since the pandemic, I'll speak for me, my movie movie goings has stopped. I have not been to the theater since the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I know people, the theaters have been open, and but with streaming, I have not been to the theater. And so when it comes to movies, especially a lot of these Academy Award winning movies, I have not seen them because I don't know, I've just really gotten out of the practice, out of the whole habit that we used to have of going to the movies and catching something like within a week or 2 weeks after it came out. I just have fallen out of practice with that, and I don't have FOMO when it comes to the movies. Like I will, because of streaming apps, I'll just wait till it'll be out streaming within maybe a month.
Yeah.
You know, whereas when we were growing up, we had to wait a year before a movie came out on VHS,
Right.
and we had to go to Blockbuster to pick it up.
Right.
So I just thought about that as far as the culture is concerned, as far as movies. And yeah, if it's not streaming, maybe people like me
Mm-hmm.
will not be able to see those kinds of movies, or will wait until an event like the Academy Awards and the Golden Globes to check out things.
Yeah. No, I'm one of those people. So I'm weird. I can't go to the movies by myself. That's one thing. I think you know that about me.
Wow.
Maybe I've never said it. I'm not one of those people that can go and like see a film alone. So that
Oh,
also limits my
okay.
movie going in general, right?
Okay.
So that's that. But also to your point, since the pandemic, I have not been to the theater. It's coming up. I need to go and see X. Kid Cudi is starring in
Okay.
that. I want to
Mm-hmm.
check that out. It's a horror joint. If y'all have seen that, drop it in the chat. Apparently it's amazing. So I am gonna go and see that. But that'll be the first time I've been. I'm really trying to be sure that I'm not lying when I say that, but I truly believe that'll be the first time I've been in the movie theater since 2019.
Yeah. Wow. It's been
Yeah.
3 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact, but yeah, it's definitely changed the way we do things. But one thing that has not changed is how we experienced the Summer of Soul.
Oh,
Like the Summer of Soul, first of all, shout out to us for saying, you know what, we need to recognize this movie and we need to talk about it on Q Points. If you have not seen Summer of Soul, watch Summer of Soul, then go through our archives and watch our show, our take on Summer of Soul, and you'll be all caught up.
yep.
Everything that you need to know is there. But we knew it from the beginning, like from watching that movie. It was like we said, you know what, this is an assignment. We are going to watch this, and it was just magical. It was the best documentary, one of the best
Mm-hmm.
documentaries I have seen this well last year,
Last year.
2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2021. And it was, I still get goosebumps when I think about the scene between Marilyn McCool and
And Billy Davis Jr.
Billy Davis. I don't know why I keep forgetting, but Marilyn McCool and Billy Davis Jr. watching their younger selves and the footage it always gets me choked up because it's just it was palpable. You could feel the emotion coming through the screen on how they were reliving that moment of performing in Harlem that day back in
69.
69. Yeah. So
69. That, so I went back and I rewatched it. And I was sitting here and I was working. This is today. I was sitting here and I was working. I was like, oh, let me put on Summer of Soul. We're going to talk about it again. Great. And then there were these moments where I was just like, okay. And I would just like look at the TV. The TV is right there because it's like magnetic. And so there's something that Merlin McCool, Billy Davis Jr. moment, absolutely agree. That will never get old. Watching them tear up because, and we talked about this on that show, but just in case you don't watch, if you don't know the Fifth Dimension, you don't know that they were considered a pop act. We talked about the fact of black folks were like, y'all don't make black music, even though they was 5 black people. And what that kind of did. And they were so happy to perform for a black audience that it was like, oh my God, no, we just wanted to make sure that our people knew why we were doing this, why we did this. It was nice. And they look great.
They look fantastic. Man. Most of the people that appeared that are still with us that appeared in the documentary look amazing.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about, obviously Questlove is at the forefront of this film and got the accolades from the academies. But I really do want to take the time to just talk about him as a curator, a master curator, which is what took the film over the top or even got the film to this place. Because I think we're kind of in the same ilk as Questlove in that we love and respect our culture. And he's taking it a step further by using his connections and using his platform, the fact that he's on television every night with his band and he DJs everybody's parties, he's well known, but he used that to curate this moment for everybody. But I believe in his post-win press conference, it was really clear that his intention was very clear that yes, this exists, and it's not just Black history, it's American history. And we all need to benefit from knowing about this and these types of things. And he's very gung-ho about protecting what we created. And I think that needs to be celebrated and that needs to be acknowledged that, Questlove is definitely that dude when it comes to, cheerleading Black culture, as it were.
No, I absolutely agree. And I agree as well that is what we are doing here at Q Points. Like, we take this really seriously, y'all. Like, this is our culture. This is our history. And watching, I guess we could have figured out that Quest would end up going in this direction, but just watching him evolve, it's almost like it's interesting because, of course, Quest as a musician is a drummer, and it's almost, and the drum is the heartbeat when we think of our music, right? The drum is the heartbeat of it. And I think he uses that same concept of being like the heartbeat of the band and channeling it into DJing and channeling it into making this film, because that's the other part about this film that was so dope, is it hits beats when it needs to hit them. And it takes you forward in time and then it brings you back in time, even throughout the performance, right? Like, we open with Stevie and then Stevie kind of comes back. The Stevie performance comes back in the center of the show because it strings something else together, right? So that's, Questlove deserves all of those accolades. And one, just the unearthing, just the listening. Because if I remember correctly, I think it just kind of randomly came up because he didn't know anything about this festival. No one did if you weren't there, right? And
Yep.
he heard like, wait, there was a what? Is there
Mm-hmm.
footage? There's footage of it? Where is it?
Sitting
Yep.
in somebody's basement, literally.
Sitting in somebody's basement who, as we talked about, tried to shop it. Nobody was interested. Everybody was interested in Woodstock. Nobody was interested in this. We're watching it today like, no, like this is it. Like this.
And it's like, why why do we wait so long and deny the greatness of, black culture until somebody else comes along and and co-signs it and says, you know what, this is valid.
Mm-hmm.
This is valid. This is marketable.
Yep.
It takes, thank God, it took a Questlove to be able to do that. But this movie clearly was worthy of being seen by the masses before Questlove got his hands on it. But I'm happy he did.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great moment. It's still a great moment for hip hop
Mm-hmm. Oh,
because
absolutely.
at the core, Questlove, is part of one of the biggest, not the first, but one
Mm-hmm.
of the biggest hip hop bands ever.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Stetson
Shout out
Sonic.
to Stetson Sonic.
But yeah, shout out to Questlove
Yeah.
for quite a moment in hip hop history.
Yeah.
Again, and I think we're gonna see more moments like that in the future.
Yes.
Maybe.
Right. So, okay, one thing before we get off of this, you know what? No, it's going to come up later. I'm going to hold it. It's going to be related to this movie, but it's going to be about, when we get to the end. So, our next hip hop moment is that, of course, Will Smith
Yes.
won for Best Actor in King Richard. I have not seen King Richard, but I do know that he has been campaigning for this Oscar from jump, right? Like it was very clear when the movie was released. I've listened to all the NPR interviews. I've heard them all. And also, he released his book last year and went on tour, and we've been watching him deconstruct his image in a way that I had not anticipated. And through, I guess, coming out of 2020 into 2021. And so this King Richard role, I think he really kind of really sunk his teeth into and fell into. But of course, Will is cut from hip hop. You know what I'm saying? He came into the business as a rapper and parlayed it into being a blockbuster movie star. Like it's nuts to how big he got. And this is his first Oscar.
Which is wild.
Isn't that wild?
That this is his first Oscar. Let's sit with that for a moment.
Yeah.
Like I could have, because I was like, wait a minute, he hasn't gotten an Oscar before.
Yep. He's tried like several times. Like I know that Concussion, and there was 6 Degrees of Separation. There was like all of these like films, because Will has done, like, if we pull up his filmography, like it's nuts, like the amount of stuff he's done.
He's run the gamut for sure.
Absolutely. And so, being able to then win this, it's a big deal. I mean, we can't avoid it, right? It's a big deal that has been overshadowed by all of the other stuff that night.
Yeah. Okay. So are we just going to dive into this?
Just go ahead.
All right.
As much as you want to do, because.
So, like I said at the top, I was not even watching the Academy Awards because I was coming home from my gig, and I was in the car when I got a message from my close friend that said, and all I saw was, you know how when you get a message or notification, you see like part of the text, and it said Will Smith just, or why did Will Smith just, and I was like, why did Will Smith just do what?
Right.
And so then it was a link. It was a hyperlink to another to a Twitter feed, and I was like, "Oh Lord, what didn't happen?" So I'm driving, and kids don't do this at home. I'm driving, and my phone is mounted.
Right.
So I was kind of flipped up to Twitter. So it's first things first. You just go to Twitter because Twitter's gonna have all the juice, right?
Right.
So you click on Twitter, and all I see is, I start seeing stuff about Will Smith, and I'm like, well, what the hell happened? And then finally somebody said Will Smith. No, my friend said Will Smith just hit Chris Rock. And I was like, what? Hit, why did Will Smith give Chris Rock the fade? Like, what happened? So I'm driving responsibly home.
Right.
And I get home, and there's the Academy Awards are still going on, but there's still hullabaloo about this moment between Chris Rock and Will Smith. We don't have to rehash what happened.
We all know what happened.
I'm at the point now where this thing right here, this Keys is so stupid. Yeah. This thing right here that we're on right now, the internet, our phones, social media has turned everybody into an expert on everything. And I think it's just wild to me the lengths that people are going. And when I found out what happened, I said, oh God, we're going to be hearing about this for at least a week.
Right.
At least a week. And that's the part that gets me. Whenever things like this happen in the social media, I'm like, damn it, we're going to hear about this for too long. And once I hear about it once, I'm good. I'm over it. My thing is that it's the hot takes that everybody's having, and everybody's become such an expert on Will Smith. The overall media, the general media, thinks they know about Will Smith because he was their magical Negro for so long. And now it happens like clockwork. Whenever a black person in media that has kind of gotten approval from the white gaze, whenever something happens out of line, it's like, oh, that's just disappointing. And then they bring up all this old footage, they bring up this, they bring up that, and it just becomes really disappointing. It's disappointing now that it's polarized. It's polarized Black Hollywood, because you have everybody's taking teams now. I think that's sad. I think that's disappointing that people are taking teams, and then you have certain black people who have certain that are part of that white gaze and have that adjacentness to whiteness and that approval from whiteness are just so disappointed. And the word traumatized has been used to all. I'm over it. It's like traumatized. Did the Twin Towers just come down on the stage at the Academy Awards? That traumatized you? That's the word you want to use?
Traumatized.
But anyway, so it's sad. We all have moments. Unfortunately, some of us have those moments in front of billions of people. And then because I just think if Will Smith is such a bad person, then stop using his name. Stop using his image. Stop using clips. Stop using clips of him from years ago to keep promoting your show. If he's that bad, Chris Rock's show has sold out 10 times over.
Chris Rock's bag is secured. If Chris Rock is like, I'm embarrassed, Chris Rock is coinked up right now.
Chris Rock is fine. Oh, here's one other thing that I knew was going to happen. The comic community. God bless comics. I love comics. I really do. Comics have been on a soapbox for a minute now about their rights and how everybody should it's just jokes. When it's not always jokes to other people, it's other people's lives, and we're not debating Jada and her alopecia. We're not debating how serious that is and whether Chris Rock knew. However, we are all having a human experience, and the way my point of view of life is not going to be the same as yours. So there's going to be some conflict and overlay, and some colliding of how our we view this life is going to happen. And sometimes things like this are going to happen. Yes, it's a shame, but my God, I don't know. It just seems like a lot. And yeah, I'm cool on it. I really don't have to hear about this ever again. The slap was heard around the world and it stopped. It came back and it's done. It's done. We don't need to hear about it anymore.
I'm so with you. There's really two things that have been coming up for me, especially over the last couple of days. I'm like you. I'm not going to debate the rightness or wrongness or whatever of what happened, because we live in this thing, and sometimes people make decisions. Did Will Smith affect his bag? Absolutely. I think we can all agree that his bag has been somewhat impacted by this thing. To what degree, we have no idea, because we're not him. But I do think that there are two things that I want to, hopefully, that we can focus on in the aftermath of all of this, is black men and tools.
Come on, say it.
And having the tools that we need to be able to navigate challenging situations when they arise. I think that comes down to therapy. And here's the other thing that, and I mentioned this as I was talking about Will winning this award and kind of him over the last couple of years. He has been in the thick of undoing a lot of things. Like he talks about, I didn't read his book, but I did read a quote from his book where he specifically talked about the fact of, the Fresh Prince was kind of a carefully crafted image, you know what I'm saying, to protect him. But he's also been undoing that image. When you start undoing stuff that you have erected as a protection for yourself, and you haven't gotten all the tools in your toolbox to be able to deal with stuff yet, because you're on the way there, stuff happens sometimes. And unfortunately, it happens in front of a billion people. And it's like, whoa, and Will Smith has already said what he did was wrong. So we're going to leave that with him. If that's what he said, that's what he said. We are living a human experience, and sometimes stuff happens. And it's embarrassing. So that's one thing. I want to talk about black men and having therapy and getting the tools to be able to deal with difficult situations when they come in, and how to respond to them. I think that's a real conversation to have. And something to focus on. And I think using this moment as, okay, young men and older men and all of us, what do we do, right? What do we do when we feel like we have to push back in a particular way? How do we do it? So I want to be able to talk about that in this moment. The other thing I want to be able to talk about, and you were going here, Sir Daniel, and I'm going to stay right with it, is why in the hell have we made it okay that comedians can just talk about people? Why is that okay? Why is it okay? Why is it okay that people can make jokes about other folks, and that's what's funny? It's not the situation. It's not the thing. Like we have said that it is okay. It's the same conversation we were having with Dave Chappelle, and we were trying to get him to understand is you can't just talk crazy about people. You can't. Like, no, that's unacceptable behavior. But I'm a comedian. This is what I do. And we have I don't know the answer to this, but what I do know is Johnny Cornegay doesn't like going to comedy shows and sitting in the front because I understand that the comedian might make me the joke and I don't want to be the joke.
Yeah, that is true. I remember that. But let me can I
Go
piggyback
ahead,
off of
please.
that real quick? So I think another part to that is it would be different if you all were funny.
That joke
I
wasn't even
think
right. That wasn't even funny.
if y'all were funny, I think what we're really reacting to is that you all have gotten some of you have gotten away from actually being funny and actually telling a joke. It becomes, and I get that some comedy is observational, and you're as a comedian, your gift is to take that observation and regurgitate it back to us in a form that is funny. Some of that just isn't happening anymore. Some of that just is not happening anymore. And to one, and I thought you were going to go there, but let's go there. Can we talk about how again we see again it's illustrated to us that we live in two different countries. We live in two different Americas. Because now they're talking about let's take should Will Smith give back his Academy Award? Should he be sanctioned? And this has been brought to our attention. Jim Carrey, what's the guy's name? Harvey Weinstein, the one that ran away to Paris.
Roman Polanski.
Woody Allen. None of those people. Sanctions hasn't even come into the conversation when it comes to those people. And those people have left like a trail of bones, a trail of tears behind them in their aftermath. Will Smith directly affected Chris Rock. That's Will Smith and Chris Rock.
That's Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Now, but you have a whole industry that is built on, or there's a whole industry that some people are afraid of because it's predatory. Two different Americas.
Yep.
Two different Americas for black people.
Yeah.
That's just how it's coming off to me. And so now we want to talk about sanctioning people. Now we want to talk about taking back people's Oscars and taking back people's Academy Awards. You know, Trey is saying in the chat here, comedians are necessary, but I feel like it's the comedian's responsibility to craft the joke in a way that it doesn't tear someone down.
Yeah,
exactly. It's when did y'all stop being funny?
And
I'm waiting to laugh.
Right. Well, and Sir Daniel, I think it is, and thank you so much for that, Trey. And Trey gets it. Like we have accepted as truth that comedy has to be someone has to be made, that it's okay to make fun of, right? A group of people, whoever group X is for that particular comedian, and we've made it okay. And I have been one of those folks that has laughed at jokes in the past and now would be like, ooh, no. And I'm wondering why we let that be okay. Because I don't think it's okay. Where are the jokes? You know what I'm saying?
Where are they? Look, to your point,
yes, Kay, where are the jokes?
To your point, J. Ray, I look back, I still laugh at Eddie Murphy's old stand-ups. I still laugh at Delirious and Raw to this day, like I am 12 years old, because it was funny.
It was fun. Okay, so let's stick with that, right? You're right. It was funny. And it's also like, where do we have the conversation about? I feel like something can be like, you and me can laugh at a particular thing because we like, oh, I see where you were going with that joke, and I'm going to give you that. And at the same time, there's going to be people who are sitting in that audience that are laughing at that joke because they are like the people that person is making fun of. They also want to make fun of that person. So that's where I think the line gets blurry is sometimes the people, we give people more credit than I think that around understanding these things. And even Eddie Murphy at this point has been like, okay, yeah, I said some stuff in the past that I shouldn't have said. Like I shouldn't have said that. So because hindsight is 2020, we can sit back and we can look.
Right.
I think I question if how we move forward from this point. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I think we began having this conversation around the Chappelle specials. I think this is still in a continuation of that. And quite frankly, Chris Rock apparently ain't even write that joke. So who wrote this joke? Why was it approved? Like there's all types of things, right? There's all types of layers to this.
So much to unpack.
So much to unpack. But
Chris Rock is on tour right now. He's on stage probably right now.
Oh, so. Yeah, he's in a sold out show. Like they are adding shows to almost every city. Chris Rock is selling. So listen, no matter what, at the end of the day, Chris's bag is secure. You know what I'm saying? That moment on the stage at the 2022 Oscars changed Chris Rock's tour. Mm-hmm. Point blank period. So I'm sure he's okay.
I think what we can all agree is that this particular incident has changed the course of both of their professional lives. We can all agree to that.
Absolutely.
Whether or not you want to pass judgment on who's right and who's wrong,
yeah,
you really can't.
You can't.
You can have an opinion, but it's not going to change anything. So you can stop reposting it.
Can we stop reposting it and writing these crazy think people? I am so tired of people demonizing Jada Pinkett Smith at this point. Like the crazy stuff that y'all have been writing about Jada these last couple of weeks. Y'all been doing it for the last year, but now it's getting real crazy. Like y'all are saying some crazy stuff about that woman that y'all don't know. Y'all don't know her.
Honest to God, what you have to realize is that this is entertainment, and yes, they do put their lives out in Front Street for us, you know, red table talking and all that. It's still entertainment, and it's still, we're only still getting a percentage, a really small piece, a really small and edited down piece of what they want us to get. So relax, okay, guys, relax. It's going on into a whole nother weekend. Relax. They have to deal with it. You don't. Stop stressing yourselves out over this incident. You are not. And if you're an up and coming comedian and you're worried about people hopping up from the audience to fight you over a joke, consider going back to the writing board and think about, is your joke really funny? Are you funny? That's where you got to begin. Are you really funny?
Mm-hmm.
And are you telling, Portia read the papers jokes, or
not Portia read the papers,
or kids be funny, or women be shopping kind of jokes? Reevaluate your shtick before you do it. There's a comment about a show idea.
I kind of like it.
Is I
kind of like it.
Actually quite doable. Trey, are you trying to be a producer on this show? Is that
right? I kind of like it. I kind of like it.
But I do like it.
And we know some comedians. So and I want to that point, I know that you just made, Sir Daniel. I want to lift up the fact that this happened before the Oscar situation. I want to lift up the fact that our brother Samson McCormick was actually attacked at a show before this happened by some racist folks. And so Yeah, like this is the thing. We'll make sure that in the description we put the link to that story.
Not much
So
outrage about that though.
right, right. Samson was literally attacked on stage at a show, and so want to send love to, and Samson continued with the show. Apparently he fought back, the people got put out,
Yep.
he kept going with the show, and then incorporated what just happened into the show, of course. So
Because he's funny. But
because he
anyway,
is
go ahead.
really funny. So just want to, there's a lot to figure out here, but I do think we are at the point where as a society and as a community we need to start asking ourselves, we want to make sure that therapy is available, that we start asking these questions, these really important questions about what we allow and what's okay, and move on from there. Play some good music, watch Summer of Soul. If you want to,
Please.
if you want to come down from this, hop onto the Hulu, watch Summer of Soul, and I guarantee you will feel better.
Indeed. Run them numbers up. Um, and if some of the soul is not your bag, um, listen, bitching the Rick James documentary was awesome as well.
Mm-hmm.
If that, if you love music documentaries like we do,
Mm-hmm.
definitely check that out. And I'm sure there's more coming down the pipe. Like J Ray spoke about the little brother.
Coming out next
The
year,
little
yo.
brother documentary had that trailer got people open. People are ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of great stuff to come down the pike, y'all. Relax. Don't stress yourself. So I think somebody put it. They were like, why are we minding rich people's business?
Baby, and they're good and rich. They so
They,
rich. They
oh,
so rich.
I get it, but relax. You don't have to take on that stress. Some of y'all are stressing yourselves out over this.
Right.
Relax.
Before we get out of here, a couple of things. Read the Dilla documentary, y'all. Check out Dilla Time by Dan Charnas. I finished it because I was traveling. I was on planes a lot, so being on planes allows you to read books. So I finished that book, and woo, we got to figure out a Dilla. Dilla needs a series at this point. Like I was reading that book, and I'm like, God damn, the influence is so deep in so many ways and far reaching. So just want to shout that out. But just so y'all know, you can still vote for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If you visit qpoints.com, you can click right there at the top, vote for your favorite artist. You could do that until the end of April. It is April tomorrow. So visit our website, become a Q Points Insider there, and make sure that you subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. Go ahead and leave us a review. Also subscribe on Podchaser and leave us a review over there. Here's the good thing about Podchaser, and I know we keep talking about it, and y'all are like, what's up, Podchaser? Right. The dope thing about Podchaser is it helps our podcast to get discovered in other places. I know y'all are like, it's a new thing. I don't know what that is, but I promise you, it really does help us out to be able to get discovered when folks are looking for Black music podcasts. So please, please, please check out Podchaser and also subscribe to us on YouTube. And yeah, that's that.
Speaking of jokes, I have a really bad chaser joke just clanking around in my head, but I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do it. Why? Because I'm not a comedian and I know my limitations. But Trey, thank you for watching and listening. Listen, you guys, that our Rock and Roll Hall of Fame series, like you guys really showed out. The numbers for that were crazy, and thank you. We appreciate you all so much, and we're going to continue to bring it to you like never before, and just continue to elevate Q Points. But guys, what do I always say every week? In this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you could let the record play. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
I'm J Ray, y'all. Peace.